something to say. From the draft to the Stanley Cup, if you love the game, turn it up.
McDavid, McKinnon, and Beddard.
All of the players of high regard.
We'll cover them all and not just the stars.
Report on every play fit for a memoir.
Every moment the passion's real. From the puck drop to OT thrill. We're talking hockey, we always will. BarDown, let's go!
Oh, 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 BarDown, talking hockey. Oh, 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 BarDown, talking hockey. Oh, 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 oh,
BarDown, talking hockey.
oh, 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 oh,
BarDown, talking hockey.
What's up and welcome back to BarDown Talking Hockey episode number 215, presented by the Barroom Network. It is the home of everything relating to the greatest sport in the world. That would be hockey. My name is Vinny Parisi, and I still believe the New Jersey Devils will not win the Stanley Cup. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller, and he is the king of all beans.
How you doing, VP?
What's up, dude?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Very excited about today. Survivor 50. NHL season returns. It's a lot going on today. Travis is happy to be here.
Hell yeah. Welcome, Travis. Welcome to everybody watching on whatever platform it is you are watching. It's a great day. The hockey, the NHL's back. Listen, for the last 2 weeks, I've woken up at 5 o'clock a.m. every single day. And it has been a grind, but it's also been a treasure. It's something I'll never forget. They're going to be in France in 4 years, so it'll probably be something similar. But I mean, just covering the games, watching the games as a fan, regardless of what my lens was for whatever particular game, it's been an absolute blast. And when I got to that last day, I think it was the quarterfinals was the last day. It was a 5 a.m.er. Germany versus Slovakia, I want to say it was. That day it was a little hard to wake up. I was like, we're done here. Like, like this waking up early, 8 a.m., 7 a.m., the gold medal game, whatever, that was easy peasy. It's the 5 a.m.ers that were starting to get a little tough at the end. At the beginning, I was all hyped up. I watched them like, I popped out of bed. But I'm excited to get my beautiful NHL back starting tonight, too. The New Jersey Devils take on the Buffalo Sabres. They play again tomorrow at the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Chicago Blackhawks hit the road for a game against the Nashville Predators. It's a great time to be a hockey fan. And, Frank, we're going to discuss what ended up becoming my all-time, and I don't say this lightly, my all-time favorite sporting moment in period number one. People get asked all the time, what's your all-time favorite sport moment? What do you think of? There are a couple that come to mind. Obviously, when I was 11 years old, my favorite baseball team, the Chicago White Sox, won the World Series. I watched Game 4 with my dad when the White Sox completed the sweep of the Houston Astros. We were back in the very first house I ever lived in. Then there was 2012. The New Jersey Devils made it to the Stanley Cup final. Adam Henrique scored a goal in overtime against the New York Rangers to send them to the Stanley Cup final. But then they lost to the Los Angeles Kings in 6 games. So that kind of hindered, I'll always remember Henrique gets over. It was a big Doc Emmerich call. It was incredible. But they lost. They ended up losing in the end. They beat the Rangers. It would be like if the Bears beat the Packers in the NFC Championship on the final play of the game and then lost the Super Bowl. You would love that game against the Packers forever. It would be an all-time great Bears moment. But it doesn't hit quite as much because they didn't finish the job.
Yeah.
Same thing in 2010. Zach Parise tied the game for Team USA against Canada with 24 seconds left. Ryan Miller was on the bench for the extra attacker. Patrick Kane was actually the extra attacker. He comes on the ice, rims it around the net, collects it. Joe Pavelski leaves it for him. Kane throws it on net. It bounces off Jamie Langenbrunner's skate into Roberto Luongo's pads, and Zach Parise buries it. It was an all-time great moment. I remember I was in high school. I had just gotten home right before the third period started from baseball tryouts for high school. And then Crosby won it in overtime. It soured the Zach Parise goal just a little bit. This time, Jack Hughes, New Jersey Devils forward, New Jersey Devils #1 overall pick in the 2019 NHL draft. Tom, I don't celebrate anymore like as loud as I used to. I try to be professional. I try to be unbiased as much as I can these days. But when my guy Jack Hughes scored in overtime, it did not take me long to come to the conclusion. And I don't say these things lightly. It was my all-time favorite sports moment as a fan. A guy from my team, my guy, they won the lottery on April 9th, 2019. I only remember the exact date because it was Joey's birthday. They won the lottery. We went to Moretti's to celebrate Joey's birthday. But your boy was actually celebrating the fact that Jack Hughes was coming to New Jersey. He scores the winner in overtime. And Team USA won the gold medal for the first time in 46 years, Frank. And it's the first time they've won a best on best of any kind since, which 1980 wasn't a best on best. 1996, they won the World Cup of Hockey. So it's been 30 years since they won a best on best. What a moment. What a moment, Frank.
You know, somebody asked me, would you rather win a gold medal or the Stanley Cup? And I think the answer has to be a gold medal. Like, you obviously play in the NHL so that you can win a Stanley Cup. That's the whole point, going professional and being in the National Hockey League. But you only get a shot of winning a gold medal every 4 years. And for some players, they don't even get that chance, whether it be for injury reasons or players not being able to go to the Olympics. I mean, your window to win a gold medal is very slim, and you don't have many bites out of the apple to get it done. So realistically, you have a chance to win a Stanley Cup every season. So that could realistically be 20 plus chances to win a Stanley Cup for some players in their career. I mean, United States men's hockey went generations of players not winning a gold medal, let alone men's and women's winning in the same year against Canada in overtime. So I'm interested to see what you would rather win, because I think I would have to go with gold medal.
It depends on the player. I think people ask this question without thinking of the deeper meaning enough. If I was Connor McDavid, the answer is a Stanley Cup. Because if he wins 4 gold medals, but he never wins the cup, when his career's over and they go to the Hall of Fame, they'll say, man, is he the greatest player to never win the Stanley Cup? If he goes over on medals and wins 2 cups, nobody's going to bring up the lack of a gold medal once when he makes it to the postseason. Or when he makes it to the Hall of Fame. It'll never be brought up. Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, these guys won best on best, but all people ever talk about is the fact that they never won the Stanley Cup. They're 2 of the greatest players to never win the Stanley Cup. They got gold medals. Doesn't matter. It's nice when especially when you're a Canadian. Jonathan Toews' 2 gold medals, I'm sure, look real nice hanging up in his. But the reason Jonathan Toews is so revered for everything he's done in his pro game is because he was the captain of 3 teams that won the Stanley Cup. So I think for certain people, now if you're like a middle of the road guy who makes it on a European country who's not as deep as the United States or Canada, then I think the Olympic gold medal might mean more to you. If you're, who's a player who played well in the Olympics? If you're Juraj Slafkovský, you are the face of Slovakian hockey. He won the gold medal I think they won silver in 2018 or 2022. I mean, in Beijing. Yeah, they lost to Finland in the gold medal game, but he led the tournament in scoring. He was he was Olympic MVP, I believe. He was on the All-Star team for this year's Olympic too. He was incredible. I think to a guy like that, his legendary status would be more enhanced by the gold medal success, even though he doesn't have a gold medal yet. But yeah, if Connor McDavid, if he wants to be known as that all-time great top 3 player ever, Crosby's got gold medals. People don't talk about that. They talk about the fact that he's a 3-time Stanley Cup winning captain. Crosby would give up both gold medals for a fourth cup. I honestly think he probably would. So I wholeheartedly believe that question is a based on base or a scenario versus scenario question.
So what would you rather have?
If I were to be in the NHL, I would obviously be an American born player. If I was a superstar, I would rather the Stanley Cup. If I was the fourth best player on my team and I made the Olympic squad because my country's not as deep as others, I'd probably rather the gold medal.
The reason I ask is because I feel like these players on the United States, some of them have Stanley Cups already. I feel like they're going to say this was probably one of their most memorable moments over winning a Stanley Cup. And it just because of ending a 46-year drought and what it meant to United States hockey.
Most memorable? Sure. Absolutely. They ended the drought, especially Jack Hughes. He scored the golden goal. I'd be shocked if he said he wouldn't rather win the Stanley Cup, though. And I do think it's harder to win the cup. Even though you have more opportunities, there's only like 5 or 6 countries that have a realistic chance of winning a gold medal. And if you're from one of those countries, you have a chance once every 4 years. You also have to make the team. That's
why I think it's harder to win a gold medal because it's not a guarantee you even make the team.
Yeah.
Realistically, if you're not United States or Canada, your odds are even slimmer.
That's true. I just think about like Joe Thornton, though. He's got like 1,500 points in the NHL and he never won the Stanley Cup. And they came damn close multiple times. They lost to the Blues in the conference finals. They lost in the Cup final to the Penguins. Like they've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm showing my opinion a little bit. I didn't even know that was my opinion. Is Joe Thornton the best player to never win the Cup? I got an idea for you, or example for you in another sport. Carmelo Anthony has like 6 gold medals. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
0 NBA titles. The only Chuck gets made fun of on TV all the time for never winning an NBA title. He's got gold medals. He was on the Dream Team.
Well, yeah, basketball is heavily dominated by the United States, though. It feels like they're always going to win gold.
That's true. In hockey, that was that way for Canada, though, until this year. They won the last 4 best on bests.
Exactly.
So I do think, although these American guys, it's going to be pretty close for them because of what you said about ending the drought and kind of the way they won it, overtime of the gold medal game against Canada. Yeah, it'll be a revered moment. Jack Hughes gained 450,000 Twitter followers in the last 72 hours, and he is now the 3rd NHL player to have over 1 million followers on Instagram. So this stuff changes your life. It's absolutely true. I'm not taking away from a gold medal when comparing it to the Stanley Cup at all. It's close. It's very close. I think some guys' legacies will be cemented better by Stanley Cups than gold medals.
Yeah, legacies. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're talking about Hall of Fame, yeah.
And so, although your gold medal statuses do get considered when you go to the Hall of Fame,
but a lot of players are selfless, and when you ask them like, "Oh, who's the best player?" they're not going to say themselves. So like they're not going to be like, "Yeah, it was awesome winning like 4 Stanley Cups." I just feel like more people are going to lean towards the gold medal. And in this caliber, if it's just a regular season and Canada wins, yeah, the gold medal might not mean much. But to what happened this year, this caliber, I feel like more people are going to lean towards that.
100%. So, Frank, Team USA, Connor Hellebuck, just unbelievable throughout the tournament. And there were questions if he was going to be the guy coming in because Jeremy Swayman has had this magnificent year. Jake Ottinger is incredible. Hellebuck and the Jets have kind of struggled. And he kind of has the opposite of what Canada's goaltender has, and we'll get to him. Where, like, he's known as this guy who he's not bad in the playoffs. I don't think he's been bad. Last year, he was good. He kind of shut people up last year in the playoffs because he was good in the playoffs last year. They won a round. They had that close series with Dallas. Nobody blamed Hellebuck for last year's playoff. but he really proved right here, right now, this year, that he can win big games. All that trash talking of him in the playoffs, you're a casual now if you talk like that about Hellebuck in front of me.
I never trash talked him. Like, I think he's a great goalie.
Now, I'm not saying you, but it was a perception that you can't trust Hellebuck as much in the playoffs as you can in the regular season.
I just think
that's gone.
I think he's on the wrong team to make a deep run to the Stanley Cup. I think that's been the problem. They've had some great teams. Don't get me wrong. Some great teams. Didn't they? They won the President's Trophy, right? A few years ago?
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just not it, man. Sometimes you need to find that right team to win a Stanley Cup, right? Look at Stuart Skinner. He was so close to winning a Stanley Cup. He was a goal away. It's like, I mean, it's just sometimes you're just not on that team. He wasn't the goalie for that team to win a Stanley Cup. It was not meant to be. I just feel like that's kind of what it is for Connor Hellebuck. Is he going to win a Stanley Cup with the Winnipeg Jets? No, he's not going to end his career and win a Stanley Cup with the Winnipeg Jets. It's just not going to happen. It has nothing to do with how good he is. Nobody's taken away from his skill. It's just wrong place, wrong time. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I did think Winnipeg was Stanley Cup good last year, and Dallas beat them. Like, that was their year. Like, if they were going to have a roster to get it done, I do think they were good enough last year. And Dallas trades for Rantanen, and he has that big Game 7 against Colorado, and that pushes them into the second round with momentum, and they got it done.
Yeah.
Only one team can win. And, Winnipeg is this generation's, and I know they're not good this year. But this Winnipeg core reminds me of San Jose's core. They were always just right there, man. And every year they lose in heartbreaking fashion to an equal team, if you will. The Hawks weren't that much better than some of those Wild teams. No. They got it done when it mattered most. And the Dallas Stars did that last year. Edmonton did it against them. Dallas is in danger of becoming Winnipeg too.
Yeah.
Really.
It's about being more complete. The more complete team. You could have elite goaltending, but if you don't have the more well-rounded team, you're probably not going to win a series.
100%. And, man, Hellebuck, though, he was so good in this tournament. He was especially good in that game. I actually came away from that game trying to recall a goaltending performance better in a bigger moment than Hellebuck against Team Canada.
Probably can't.
The only thing I can think of in 2013, the Pittsburgh Penguins played against the Boston Bruins in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Bruins swept them, and Rask gave up 2 goals in the whole series. He gave up one goal in 2 separate games, and then had 2 other shutouts. So 2 goals in 4 games. That is the greatest NHL series goalie performance I've ever seen.
What about Pecorino when they shut out the Hawks? They swept the Hawks. I think the Hawks only scored 2 goals.
They might have, actually.
I'm almost positive they got shut out twice or 3 times, and they only scored 2 goals in that series.
You're right. You're right. I remember that. And people were saying, because their slogan at the time was still 1 goal.
And weren't they? Did they win the President's Trophy that year? No.
They won the conference.
The conference for sure.
They won the regular season conference.
They didn't win the President's.
No. I want to say.
They were the 1 seed.
Did the Rangers win the President's Trophy that year?
I don't know, but they were the 1 seed, and then they got swept by the Predators, and that's really what started the downfall of the team.
Yeah, I know who won the President's Trophy. Washington. Washington won it in back-to-back years, and then when they didn't win it, people thought they were cooked, and they won the cup. Funny how that works, which is why you can never discount teams like Dallas or Winnipeg, though, because Winnipeg this year for sure, but they're that team that chokes, and then the team takes a step back the next year, and then they end up winning the cup because they got hot at the right time.
Yeah.
But man, Jack Hughes, Frank, he's one of the best players in the NHL. In a down year, he's point per game. And he cut himself at Chicago cut, no pun intended. It hurt his finger.
He's just injury prone, man.
He's been injury
prone. Cut himself, knocked out a few teeth. I mean, what's going on with him? He needs to be in a bubble. It's
been a rough 18 months.
Yeah.
But when he's on the ice, there's just no doubting that
he just needs to stay on the ice, maybe.
100%. Now, did he learn a lesson? taking one to the chicklets, losing all those teeth. It probably didn't feel very good. And then you go out and score the golden goal. Maybe
took a penalty too.
Well,
that could have been devastating.
Frank,
and Canada was peppering.
I had visions of someone on Canada scoring the golden goal with Jack Hughes in the box with a minute left. I would be feeling the exact opposite about that game than I do right now. Like literally the opposite. But hey, now he's going to come back to New Jersey and play in Sheldon Keefe's broken offensive system and, see if he could keep it going. But with all those games missed, he's still point per game. Hopefully he's able to kind of go on a run now. Do I think the Devils are going to make up 11 points in the standings and jump 3 teams? No, I do not.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would necessarily sell, because I think it's important for them to finish strong and come into next year believing they're a cup contender again. I do think this could be seen as one of those down years that you come back the following year and be elite again. Especially with the momentum that he has on his back now. And Hischier and Meyer played well in the Olympics. Markstrom was probably a top 3 goalie in the whole tournament. He took the net from Gustafsson. Gustafsson was not good against Italy. And freaking the Swedes won anyway. And then Markstrom took over and didn't give it back up. So the Devils can carry some momentum off of Jack Hughes' heroic performance, but Team USA, they have a gold medal for the first time in 46 years and their first best-on-best victory in 30 years, only their second ever. So
pretty spectacular.
Very spectacular. All right, Frank, we're going to talk about some of the other Olympic teams and recap some of their issues in period number 2. I want to talk about Canada first. Team Canada is the single greatest collection of talent on one team, in my opinion, in 40 years. I'll hear an argument for the Summit Series team that had Gretzky, Lemieux, Coffey, some of the all-time great players. I'll hear an argument on that team. But in the even moderately recent history, this Team Canada is the greatest collection of talent in the history of the sport. And they didn't get it done. They just didn't get it done. They could talk however they want about expected goals for and how they played and whatnot. Guess what? Connor Hellebuck is part of the team. He is part of the wall you have to break if you're Team Canada, and they didn't do it. I don't care if you had 100 shots. You lost. You lost 2-1. And it's a bad look. Honestly, it's a bad look for Team Canada that they weren't able to win this game with the collection of talent that they had. I don't know if it was their system. They relied a lot. McDavid, McKinnon, and Celebrini's ice time compared to the guys on the fourth line. Like, I'm pretty sure Sam Reinhart has the most goals scored in the NHL besides Leon Draisaitl and David Pastrnak in the last 3 NHL seasons. I think he has the 3rd most goals. I could be wrong. I could be off a player or two. It's something along those lines for Sam Reinhart. And he had 6 minutes in the gold medal game.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why they relied so heavily. I think McKinnon, McDavid, and Celebrini would have been even better had their ice time been cut just a little bit.
It wasn't a straightforward path to the gold medal game for Canada too, which is kind of why I think it has to do with their system. I mean, both Czechia and Finland gave them a run for their money and really put them on the brink of elimination, especially Czechia. They had a lead in the 3rd period against Canada. I mean, they were 1 goal in overtime from being eliminated and not even making it to the gold medal. Or no, would that have been, they wouldn't even made it to the semifinals. Right?
No, yeah, I do. I'll give you. Czechia was the quarterfinal.
Yeah,
I'll give you Finland. Andre Palat's goal that gave them a 3-2 lead. There were 7 Czechs on the ice.
There were, yeah, I did see that.
So I do. That was an example of a puck don't lie game for me, but the point stands. Though I get your point.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Canada, it was a very, very disappointing Olympics for you. You were one way of winning a gold medal in both men's and women's ice hockey, and you came up short in overtime both times to your biggest international rival. That has to be a horrible feeling. You go 0-4 in a gold medal game. That's bad. Not bad, but it's just a bad feeling.
Yeah, it really is. And there was a lot taken out of context after the game. And this is exactly what I try not to do when I get quotes and I put them out there from Blackhawks players. They take little snippets of what they actually said and make them look worse than they were.
Yeah.
It happened to John Cooper and Nathan MacKinnon. First, John Cooper complains about 3-on-3, says that it's not real hockey. You're taking 4 players off the ice when you do 3-on-3. Then that's all that people put out there. It made John Cooper sound like a whiny little dork. But what they left off was right before that, he admitted that Team Canada won 2 games in 3-on-3. They have a distinct advantage in 3-on-3 because they're able to put out McKinnon, McCarr, and McDavid to start every 3-on-3 period. And they knew the rules coming into the tournament. But people leave that part out. They only put the part online that makes John Cooper look like a douche. Same thing with Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon said, "You be the judge of who was the better team." That was the quote that people put out. But what people leave off is the part where Nathan MacKinnon talked so highly about Connor Hellebuck, how good the United States team is, and that despite that they played better and dominated possession in the second and third period, they're not the team with the gold medal around their neck. They are. But people only put in the quotes that make MacKinnon and John Cooper look like a-holes. And that's the society, that's the journalism I'm trying to get away from with how I do things. So shout out to Nathan MacKinnon and John Cooper. They are not what people are saying they are because of one little snippet of a line without putting in the rest of it. Kind of annoyed me, Frank. I'm not going to lie, especially being on the winning end of this.
I hear you. I could see why you're annoyed. I kind of do wish it was like the NHL playoffs and it was 5-on-5 continuous overtime till there was a winner. I think that's when you find the most entertaining hockey. Like, I don't think anybody wanted the game to end in 3 minutes. The way the game was going, it was. I mean, look how 5-on-5 was going the whole game. It was so entertaining. Like, I would have paid for an extra period of 5-on-5 in that game. I don't know why they do 3-on-3 and keep it 3-on-3. I kind of hope it'll never change because when Crosby scored, it was 4-on-4, so they're using those types of overtime rules. So,
and I believe that game would have went to a shootout if Crosby didn't score.
I think you're right. This wouldn't have. No, I knew that, but I just 5-on-5 seems better for like meaningful hockey games, which is why the NHL does 5-on-5 continuous OT in the playoffs. I mean, you don't want a playoff game ending in 3-on-3 or a shootout or anything like that. It kind of defeats the purpose of it. But like you said, those were the rules beforehand. Those are every team's made aware of what the rules are heading into the.
You knew the rules in July of last year.
The ice is the same for everybody. The rules are the same for everybody. So I mean, you just play how it's played. Play how the rules are given, and whatever happens, happens. There should be no complaining from either end.
If logistics were no problem, I would also make it 5-on-5. Now, my guy scored the golden goal, so I wouldn't change anything at this point. That's a memory forever for me. But going forward, yeah, of course, I would do 5-on-5. The only problem, you do run into that possibility. It's unlikely, but you do run into that possibility of that 5 overtime game, Tampa Bay versus Columbus in the bubble. Or I think 2 seasons ago when Florida won their first cup, they played a 4 overtime game against Carolina in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I want to say Carter Verhaeghe won it in overtime for them because it was a big deal because he scored that goal and he scored the overtime goal to eliminate the Bruins. It was like he was Mr. Clutch. So you do run into that possibility, and they do got to get to the closing ceremonies.
That is true.
That is something that they are very conscious of with the Olympics, is not having games run forever. And I'm sure NHL teams would probably prefer it to be 3-on-3 too, so that their guys are less risk of getting injured in triple overtime games and whatnot. So I don't think it's going to change. I'm a fan of the 5-on-5. We agree. If it was a perfect world and logistics weren't an issue, injuries weren't an issue, I'm with you. There was one counter argument that I heard that did make me think. It was from our friend of the show, I should say, John Buccigross, tweeted about how if it were 5-on-5, the golden goal might be the ugliest thing you've ever seen off of someone's arse cheek or face. Andrew Shaw headbutt. That didn't count, but it should have. I strongly believe that should have. Why the hell wouldn't it count?
There's really no reason.
Because if it goes off his face, it's okay. I guess it's the same thing as if you were to kick it in, but I would.
But it's harder to headbutt it in. Like I want to see another player try to do that again.
100%. I'd be okay with allowing kicking in because the stick is always more effective than your skate. So if you want to take that risk of kicking it right into the pad of the goalie, it is a sharp knife at the end of every stick. So from a safety perspective, that part I get. But the stick is always more effective than a hand or a foot. So that's one thing I do strongly believe. I wouldn't allow people to bat it in with their hand, though. That would be weird. The head, though, ooh.
Yeah.
If it's allowed in soccer, it should be allowed in hockey. But it would have been an ugly goal more than likely, especially if the game kind of wore on a little bit. Guys get more tired. They're dummying. Protein in between. That's another thing. 10-minute walk to the locker room between each intermission. So if you do 5-on-5 and you got 3 overtimes, it's a lot of, walking to get this protein in you during intermissions of the overtime. But 3-on-3, you're guaranteed a beautiful goal. You're guaranteed a beauty.
I guess just from a fan perspective, I just wanted to see more.
Same. I would have done it too. We're aligned. I'm just trying to see every angle. One thing we didn't touch on the Jack Hughes goal, Frank, and then we'll get into the rest. Everybody's going to only remember him receiving the puck from Werenski and shooting it past Binnington, right? That's the scene everybody has. And then he throws his helmet into the crowd, got the American flag draped over him. What he won't get enough credit for from the normal people, but he will from me, is the play he made leading up to the goal. Connor McDavid is coming up the wing, and there's no defenseman in between him and Connor Hellebuck. The only defender in between that separates McDavid from a clear shot on goal is Jack Hughes. And he made a brilliant play to push McDavid wide. And he went around the net. It was the best defensive play Jack Hughes has ever made. And McDavid was behind the net in no-no land. And he tries to chip it up. He gets it to Cale Makar. And Jack Hughes takes the riskiest play of his career. And he pokes it past Makar to Werenski, who then drives down the ice, beats his man. I think it was McKinnon. And he gets it to Jack Hughes, who rifles it home. If Jack Hughes fails on that poke check to Makar, it's a 2-on-0 for McDavid and Makar on Hellebuck.
Yeah.
And they probably score. Right? Like the McKinnon and Makar.
The way Hellebuck was playing, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
It was just the most magnificent play all around, and it wasn't just on the goal. The defensive-minded play to beat McDavid and then strip it from Makar. A perfect poke check that would have been a 2-on-0 the other way if he missed it. Just all around insanity.
How about Jordan Binnington? All the hate he got that, like, oh, he's not the guy.
I told you he'd start game 1.
You were right. And he shoved it in everybody's face by getting a shutout.
Yep.
Like, some guys just love playing for their country.
Or in big games, because he's won the cup too.
Right. And while it may not statistically have been the right decision based on, other guys performing better, I just think there's a mindset like going veteran heavy, guys who've been there, done that in these moments. I honestly think that pays off in any sport, any single sport.
He would not have been on the team if he wasn't going to play. That's what I tried to tell you.
You're right.
They would have brought in somebody with better numbers if the object wasn't for him to play. He's not coming in as a backup with an 890 save. He is strictly on the team because he's proven, and we can't detract him again. we're probably not going to get an opportunity.
I never really detracted him.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't. I was like, it made sense.
If they were going to go to Logan Thompson, he would have had to have played bad in the first game. Logan Thompson did play the second game.
Yeah.
But they just didn't have anything going a back-to-back. Team USA did it too. They gave Swayman a game in the back-to-back. They were always going to start him and go from there, and he dominated. He was great. Frank, who was your biggest surprise in a good way in this tournament?
I think this team is gonna goes with both the men's and women's, kind of go hand in hand here. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Swiss. They played really great hockey on both the men's and women's side. Switzerland, they upset Sweden for the bronze and women's, and then for the men's, they finished 5th. I mean, they should be very proud. This team knocked the team that knocked out Switzerland was Finland, who was a team that would go on to medal and get the bronze. They only lost to them 3-2 in overtime, had a 2-0 lead over Finland. I mean, for a second there, they were 1 goal away from a Switzerland-Canada semifinals. They were 1 goal away from a semifinals appearance. They should be very, very proud because going into it, I think they were like plus 2,500 to win a gold medal, and they played really tough hockey. It was a nice surprise to see from them.
Absolutely. I'll give a shout out to them as well. I'll pick a different team, but I mean, the way Heischer and Yossi and Meyer and their goalie just played so well. And yeah. It stung when they lost. I watched the whole game. It stung. I felt like
they were going to win.
VP. It felt like the Devils to me. Like I had that level of sting when they lost because I wanted them to win. So they couldn't find that third goal. And Finland's depth just kind of showed a little bit in the final minutes of the game when the Swiss were reeling and they weren't able to, find that third goal or make that final defensive play with the goalie pulled. So Finland's the better team, and they deserved to, they came back and won. I do think the Swiss would have beaten Slovakia, who is my pick for the surprise team of the tournament. Although I do think the Swiss might have beat them for the bronze if they were to have hung on against Finland. My surprise team is Slovakia because they started that tournament with a huge win. I think it was 4-1 over the Finnish to start the tournament, and they kept it going from there. Juraj Slafkovský is a Slovakian Olympic legend now. That's 2 in a row. They got the bronze in 2022, and he went on to be the number 1 overall pick, largely because of his raising of his stock. Shane Wright was supposed to be the number 1 pick. It was a lock. Shane Wright's going to be the number 1 pick. And then the way that Slafkovský and Nemitz played in that Olympic, they ended up being the 1 and 2 pick. And they went back and played for their country this year, and they were awesome. So special shout out in a good way to Slovakia. They came in 4th. It was a really good Olympics for them. I remember in 2014 when Canada won gold, that tournament when Slovakia got eliminated, and they had Marian Gaborik, Zdeno Chara, Marian Hossa, Tomáš Tatar early in his career. Like it was, and Halak was their goalie, Jaroslav Halak. He cried. He cried after the game because he felt that was the end of Slovakia's like being a top hockey country. And he was kind of wrong. He was wrong because by 22, they were back. And it wasn't best on best, but being really good in a non-best on best international tournament is still very impressive because you're pumping out NHL talent in the future. And so I would say Slovakia is back. They had a really good showing in the tournament, and they should be proud of themselves. Frank, biggest disappointment?
Biggest disappointment would have to be Sweden. They finished 7th in men's ice hockey, 4th in women's, so they didn't get a medal at all in ice hockey at the Olympics. In fact, they had the 3rd best odds to win a gold medal in men's behind Canada and the United States. Guys like Philip Forsberg, William Nylander, they just couldn't get anything going for Sweden. In their eyes, heading into the tournament, they're expecting a medal at the very least and maybe even upset and make it to the gold medal game. But to finish in the bottom half of 12 teams at 7th out of 12, that's horrible. That's a horrible showing for Sweden.
I agree that their 7th place finish is the most disappointing. I don't think they're the most disappointing team, though. And the reason is they kind of got screwed. They were 2-1 after group play. And then they were winning 5-2 against Slovakia. And a garbage goal that Slovakia scored with under a minute left in regulation earned them, Slovakia, the tiebreaker over Sweden for group champion. I think it was Group C. If Sweden doesn't give up that garbage time goal and wins 5-2 instead of 5-3, they win Group C. They get a bye, and they play Italy in the quarterfinal instead of Slovakia. Or yeah. And no, they would have played France. Yeah, no, they would have played France, I think, actually. And they would have got to the quarterfinal and then played either the Swiss or Germans. They probably win. They probably medal. Bad luck for Sweden. Because that idiot scored a goal. Not idiot, that's mean. With under a minute left, a garbage goal. And Slovakia's celebrating after they lost. They were literally celebrating on the ice when they lost. And Sweden won. Sweden came in third. Finland, Sweden, and Slovakia were all 2-1. And Slovakia got the Group C championship with a bye. Finland had the best second place team also got a bye. That was Finland. Could have been Sweden, but Finland beat Italy 10-0. So they had the goal differential. It was something along those lines. The goal differential actually was the goal differential between those three teams. So, and then they lost to the U.S. 2-1 in overtime. Yeah, their finish is the most disappointing. Coming in 7th, absolutely. There's no arguing it. They're the 3rd best team on paper. They came in 7th. I do think they got screwed a little bit by some bad Olympic rules. Because Frank, why should a 1-2 3rd place team be ahead? Or no, why should a 1-2 2nd place team be ahead of a 2-1 3rd place team?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they won't let any 3rd place team be ahead of any 2nd place teams. So I would reconstruct that a little bit if I were the IOC. But what do I know? My disappointment is Czechia and Germany. There's a tie. I expected better from both of them, and they didn't show. Czechia played better against Canada to kind of redeem themselves a little bit, but their group play was awful. Pasternak looked hurt. Nietzsche was their best player, and they struggled against some teams they should have just blown out.
Yeah.
So, and then Germany, they have more high-end talent than some well-known hockey countries. I mean, most teams would rather start with Draisaitl, Seider, Stützle than any other core in the Olympics besides the U.S., Canada, and Sweden. And they weren't that good. They weren't as good as I thought they were going to be. Draisaitl and Stützle scored basically every single game, and they still couldn't get it done. So I really like Mo Seider, though, dude. Really good player. He'll be a top 5 Norris guy, I think. If I get a vote for Norris, I would put him top 5 for sure right now. So yeah, you can definitely argue any which way. Sweden, Czechia, Germany, all those come to mind for me in different ways. Frank, 2030. We go to France.
The French Alps.
The French Alps. What are you expecting in that tournament? You could kind of be general. If you have anything in depth, I have one thing I'll say.
I mean, the United States, they opened as a favorite to win the gold medal, but they're going to because they're the most recent gold medal champions. Things are going to look a lot different, I think. Kind of with these teams, but as far as what I'm expecting, I don't know what you're going for here. I don't know what to.
Team USA, Team Canada, who might be on those teams, why the teams might look a little different. For me, Team Canada, Crosby's coming back.
See, that's where I disagree.
Crosby's coming back. He got hurt in that game, or in that this year. It came out. We'll talk about him in the 3rd period, what's going on with him. but Bedard will be on the team. Matthew Schaefer will be on the team. Adam Fantilli could realistically be on the team. I'm trying. Oh, this Landon DuPont, who's going to be the number 1 overall pick next year in 27. He's a guy who could be on the team. Gavin McKenna, obviously. There's a lot to learn between now and then on whether these guys, DuPont, McKenna, Bedard, even McDavid and McKinnon will obviously be there. Makar. It'll look a little different, but I still think they got a lot of up and coming talent that will be in the conversation to be on that team. And then for Team USA, all the Hughes brothers will be there. There's a chance Luke is there. If by then Quinn comes to the Devils, it unlocks something in Luke, and all of a sudden all 3 of them are on the team. That wouldn't shock me. The Kachucks, Matthew will probably be, I think, 32 years old. Matthews will probably still be worthy of being on the team. There won't be a Brock Nelson or a JT Miller or a Vincent Trocheck or anything like that. But by then, the real veterans, the mid-30s veterans, will be the Kachucks. Matthew, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, who was magnificent. I don't even think we mentioned him at all. He was one of Team USA's best players. Jake Gensel, incredible tournament. So yeah, I'm excited for the 2030 Olympics. They're going to be really, really cool.
You know where they are in 2034?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
I'm gonna try and go.
Okay.
I want to go. I'm gonna go to the Olympics real bad. Some of my colleagues were in Milan, and they had a great time.
I'm sure.
Last thing I'll say on the Olympics, Johnny Gaudreau. I wore this for him. Team USA had his jersey in the locker room at World Juniors, at World Championships, at 4 Nations, and at the Olympics. And in that time, they've won 2 gold medals in World Juniors, 2 out of 3. They were the runner-up in the 4 Nations face-off. They won their first World Championships gold medal in 92 years last summer. And they won the gold medal in the Olympics this year. Johnny Gaudreau was a big part of it. He probably would have been on Team USA and this year. I assume he would have been on Team USA.
Yeah, he would have.
I know a lot of people just say it. I actually think he probably would have from a hockey perspective. And he would have drove a lot of offense in their bottom 6, I think. Because he was just starting to get – Columbus was just starting to get their feet going under him, too. He would have gotten to play with Fantilli and some of these other guys. You know, Boone Jenner was his number 1 center last time he played in the NHL. He never got a chance to play with Fantilli or, you know, any of the Russians that they have there. Monahan signed there strictly to play with him. He never got that chance again. So shout out to Johnny Gaudreau. Shout out to the Gaudreau family. I'm glad USA Hockey was able to honor them the way that they did. And Frank, we're going to touch on some quick NHL hard-hitting topics in period number 3. Just some housekeeping on NHL stuff, Frank. Sidney Crosby's out 4 weeks with the injury that he sustained in the Olympics. Kevin Fiala is out for the rest of the season with an injury that he sustained in the Olympics. And John Cooper has left the Tampa Bay Lightning today to mourn the loss of his father. And so we wish the Cooper family love and prayers, and we hope everybody's okay in their mourning. John Cooper's dad passed away, so he's not going to be coaching the team tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Frank, the trade deadline's coming up. March 6th will be the day that you can no longer make trades after 2 p.m. So there's a lot going on in the NHL right now. What storylines are you looking at?
Obviously the Crosby one was a big one. I didn't hear about John Cooper, so thanks for that piece of news there. Wishing him and his family all the time they need to mourn the loss of his father. Right now we're pushing for the last month and a half towards the playoffs. It's gonna be a good last month and a half, I think. As far as the trade deadlines go, there's a lot of names on the block. I think Vincent Trocheck's a big one. Kadri, Falk. I know you said the Devils. You don't know if they're going to sell. I do think they may try to move Hamilton. I think if there's anybody likely to leave the team, it'd be him. I know Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson are both Blackhawks names I hear being thrown around at the trade deadline. But, I mean, things are going to get quite busy here quick over the next 2 weeks. There's going to be a lot to keep track of. So you're going to have to stay tuned for all the news that hits over these next couple weeks.
Absolutely. If they trade Hamilton, they better use that money. That's not a selling move. He's got multiple years left on his deal for a lot of money. That's a hockey move, in my opinion. So if you trade Hamilton, you better do something with that money, especially in the offseason. And I'd be very surprised if all four of Dickinson, Foligno, Mikheyev, and Murphy are all on the Blackhawks on the evening of March 6th, which they play against the Vancouver Canucks. I'd be very surprised if all four of them are there, and I'll throw Matt Grzelcyk in as a sweetener because I don't know if a team would give up much to get him, so they might just keep him. Because I doubt they want 6 defensemen in the lineup, all 24 or younger, which is what would be the case if they traded both Murphy and Grzelcyk. Because you assume they trade both of them. Rinzel's playing probably the rest of the season no matter what now. But Korchinski, Levshinov, and they probably call up Ethan Del Mastro if they traded both Murphy and Grzelcyk. And I just don't know if that's the best idea for what, like a 6th round pick.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that's the best idea, my opinion. I would trade Dickinson. I would trade Foligno. I would not trade Mikheyev. I would extend Mikheyev. Now, if Mikheyev doesn't want to be here, then you got to move him. But if he wants to stay, I would extend him.
Yeah, I hope they don't trade him.
He is so good at killing penalties. He might be the best pure penalty killer in the National Hockey League. I can't think of a guy whose role on a team is to penalty kill. Like JT Miller and Trocheck in the Olympics. Team USA went 100% on the penalty kill. Mm-hmm. They did not concede a single power play goal to any team. That's Miller, Trocheck, Brock Nelson. There's a reason. Bill Guerin put on his Herb Brooks hat and said, I'm not trying to take the best players. I'm trying to take the right players. Well, he did. Mikheyev, though, he's not going to have 20 goals, or he had 20 last year. He's not going to have 100 points like JT Miller has had, though. Trocheck's been a 50-point guy. That's not Mikheyev, but he could get you 15 to 20 goals, and all of them, literally all of them, will be at either even strength or shorthanded. He gets 0 power play time. None. I have the Blackhawks power play notes right here. Today, their power play, the top unit was Bertuzzi, Bedard, Nazar, Teravainen, and Rinzel. Their second unit was Foligno, Moore, Green, Burakovsky, and Grzelcyk. Mikheyev's not touching that.
No.
But outstanding penalty killer. And you combine that with Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore being willing to kill penalties, and there's a reason the Blackhawks have the best penalty kill in the league.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I hope they don't trade him. I really don't. What about Murphy? What do you think about? Do you think
he's gone?
You think so?
Yeah. If I had to rank the Blackhawks expiring contracts by most likely to trade to least likely to trade, Murphy would be number 1. Most likely. Dickinson would be 2. Foligno would be 3. Mikheyev would be 4. Grzelcyk would be 5.
Okay.
That's not my ranking of how I would keep them.
No,
I'd get rid of all of them except Mikheyev if it were me. But now here's the thing, though. If someone offered me a 2nd-round pick and a B+ prospect for Mikheyev, I would do it with no hesitation. I just don't think you're getting that for him. I don't think you're getting anything worthy of what he provides to the team for him.
Yeah.
Someone offers you a 1st. Oh my God, I'll drive him to the freaking new team. But
he's gonna fly him himself.
I'm talking realistic, likely trade returns for Mikheyev. I would not do it. So that's just my opinion.
That's fair.
On that. So,
all right.
I'm excited. Should be a good time next Friday.
A lot to keep track of.
Yep. Next week's show, we'll preview the trade deadline a little bit more. I'm sure there will be at least one big trade between now and then, though.
Yeah.
I've heard some big things are cooking. It came out, and every journalist on the Chicago Blackhawks beat, including myself, should be annoyed. Not a single one of us asked Kyle last time he spoke about the top 10 pick from Florida or the first round pick from Florida.
Yeah.
It's top 10 protected.
Yeah.
And we were all operating under the idea that it was not.
Yep.
Go every team that's playing Florida. And the Bruins are impacted by it too from the Brad Marchand trade. If the Blackhawks don't get Florida's pick this year, the Bruins don't get their pick next year, everything pushes back a year. So we'll follow that story too. I would rather have the 11th pick this year than the 8th pick next year if I were the Blackhawks, though. But they might shut down Tkachuk and Marchand at some point. I really think that that's possible and gear up for next year. Barkov will be back. Tkachuk's not healthy now. He wasn't that good in the Olympics, Matthew. Brady was way better. So, yeah, we'll see what the trade deadline brings. My most exciting thing for the Blackhawks, once they make their moves, I think Korchinski will be up for the rest of the season. I don't think he's going to play any games on this current stint that he's up. He's not going to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
He probably won't play at all, especially if Wyatt Kaiser comes back mid-trip, which he's going to. Nick Lardis. And then as soon as Djurgården's season ends in Sweden, Anton Frandell will be on the first charter to Chicago to make his NHL debut. I assume that'll happen at some point in March. So very excited to see Frandell's first game. I hope his first game is at home really bad. So we'll see. All right, it's time for America's favorite podcast segment of the week.
VP, my computer's frozen. Could you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we're good.
Breaking bets.
Where's my money, bitch?
Players, we have gone through the Great Olympic Tournament, and now we will decide whose turn it is to be banished to Frankie's terrible bets that he makes every single week and loses all his money. So with that, players, the floor is yours.
All right, VP. We got NHL back tonight. Got the Buffalo Sabres and the New Jersey Devils. We both know how both of these seasons have gone so far. The Devils have been an absolute disappointment this year. The Sabres, they were getting really hot there for a second. I'm going to go off the fact that maybe this 3-week period off may have killed all the momentum for the Buffalo Sabres. And to be honest, they weren't super hot going into the break anyway. They lost 3 of their last 4 heading into the Olympic break. So maybe Jack Hughes' golden goal will help fuel the Devils a little bit and give them a boost in this game. Sometimes all you need is that one major moment in a season to start things on the right path again. I'm going to go with the New Jersey Devils money line, minus 118, bet to win 3 units. And for my other NHL pick, we got the Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Connor Hellebuck will not be playing in this game. Eric Comrie has been confirmed to be the starter tonight. Both these teams have been really bad this season, but the Canucks, I think they're in a different tier of bad this year. They're like really bad. After trading Quinn Hughes, this team immediately became even worse also. I mean, their last 2 games heading into the Olympic break, the Canucks gave up 11 goals. I mean, it's clear they are having trouble stopping the puck from going into the net. And their offense hasn't been there either. And while Hellebuck won't be in the game, I just feel like the team is so happy for them, and I think Winnipeg is better on paper than the Canucks are this year. The Canucks, I just think they're going to have a hard time to score. We've not seen anything other than that this entire year from the Vancouver Canucks. It's been a dumpster fire over there in Vancouver. I think it's going to be very hard for the Canucks to win this game. So we're going to go with the Winnipeg Jets money line at minus 130, bet to win 3 units. And the reason why this price is so low as it is because Hellebuck's not playing. So get the value in while you can.
I heard a report Jonathan Taves has no interest in moving from Winnipeg, despite their lack of likeliness to go to the postseason. So that's interesting. I thought there'd be a chance. I thought there was a chance he would consider going to play for a contender. He's not going to. He's going to stay in Winnipeg, according to him. And he has a no-move clause, so it's not like Winnipeg can bypass anything he says. Very good show, Frank. Very good. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody watching enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the Olympics. The NHL is back tonight. Ready to get nice and angry again with the way the NHL goes. And as we gear up for the stretch run, the Chicago Blackhawks have 25 games remaining on their schedule. So you can read my stuff at the Hockey News. If you're at the game, come say hello at the press box. A lot of people come up and say hi. You walk up to the 300 level in the seating section, and then you just walk up to the top. Pretty cool to mingle with people, say hello. And then, of course, Frondell, Bedard's finish to the year. Can either him or Bertuzzi hit 40 goals? We'll see. And then scoring title, getting real interesting between McDavid and McKinnon. How will the Olympics impact what we see in the NHL down the stretch? We'll talk about it all here, starting next Wednesday with the trade deadline here at the Barroom Network. And Frank, I say it every week, as always, thank you for listening.
We're talking hockey, we always win!